Hey, this is Rue, and today I'm reviewing TCG Card Shop Simulator. This is an indie game in the same store simulation mini-genre popularized by Supermarket Simulator. If you've played one of these types of games, Card Shop Sim is definitely going to feel familiar, but it does a few unique things that let it stand out, and I think it's one of the better store sim games currently available. In this review, I'm going to cover how the game works, the things I liked, the things I didn't like, and finish with a discussion of value and my overall thoughts. Let's get into gameplay. As you'd expect from the title, you take the role of the owner of a small card shop that specializes in Tetramon, a game clearly inspired by Pokemon and other collectible card games. You'll handle most aspects of the store, at least at first, setting up displays, buying inventory, stocking shelves, and checking out customers. You can sell individual cards, packs, and boxes, as well as a wide range of accessories such as card sleeves, stuffies, playmats, dice, and so on. There are 4 different card rarity levels, basic, rare, epic, and legendary, across 2 different sets, the Tetramon base game and Tetramon Destiny. You can also buy playing tables. You'll earn an hourly fee from people who play in your store. One of the cool things about this game is that you're not just selling cards to other people, you can also build your own collection. This is optional but fun. You do this by opening packs directly. The game shows you the value for each card as well as a sound effect if you get a rare one. It feels a lot like opening loot boxes, minus the real money component, and I think the quasi-gambling aspect of this is going to click with a lot of people. There are a lot of cards. I have several hundred unique ones, and I haven't even unlocked everything yet. Besides different creature types, each card has a number of variants, special editions, foils, full art versions, and so on. The game keeps track of the total value of your collection, which is a nice touch. The game also includes a somewhat silly but funny aspect in that some customers will come into your store smelling bad. This will bother other customers, but you can spray the offenders with deodorant, which fixes the issue. If only real life were that simple. Game progression is very similar to Supermarket Sim. As you earn money, you can unlock licenses for additional products, purchase store expansions, hire employees to help with stocking or checking out customers, and so on. You can also change the type of games being played at your store, adding an upfront cost but increasing the hourly rate customers pay you and offering a special benefit. You'll need to pay bills weekly based on the size of your store and how many employees you have. Prices for goods can also fluctuate to some extent from day to day. You keep track of all these sort of management functions through a series of apps which you can access from your phone anywhere in the store. Let's move on to what I liked about Card Shop Simulator. There's actually quite a bit to like here if you're into this kind of game. Card Shop Sim has taken the basic idea of Supermarket Sim and improved on it in a number of ways. I'll go through a few. You can order on your phone from anywhere in the store instead of being tied to a desktop computer. Price setting is improved with easy buttons that avoid needing a calculator. Shelves and tables snap together so it's easier to make a good-looking layout. You can actually carry stuff in your hands, which makes rearranging your store much easier. And lastly, you get save slots so you can experiment without messing up your main store. The overall gameplay loop is fun without being stressful. This is the kind of game that lets you put on a podcast or video and relax while playing. What sets this one apart from the rest of the genre are the cards, being able to open packs, collect them, sell them, and so on. There's way more card variety than I expected, and the art quality and special editions are really well done for a $13 indie game. As best I can tell, the Tetramon theme was introduced with a mobile game a few years ago, so the developer already had a base to work from with regard to cards and art design. I like that the game gives you a way of dealing with the large number of low-value cards you'll inevitably get. The game doesn't really explain it to you, but you can eventually buy a workshop that'll allow you to repackage low-value cards into a bulk pack for resale. The last thing I want to mention is the roadmap, which is actually shown in-game and looks quite ambitious. A few of these, for example, being able to trade cards with customers directly, look like great ideas. While a couple others, for example, making the card game actually playable by the player, make me slightly nervous. Store sim game and playable TCG game are not the same genre, and I think it'd be hard to do both well at the same time. Let's move on to the things I didn't like. The first thing here isn't as much of a bad thing as an observation. If the card aspect doesn't appeal to you, then this game basically plays the same as all the others in this category. The success of Supermarket Sim spawned a lot of copycats, and while I haven't played them all, they look and feel very similar. You tell me if this street from Card Shop Sim looks significantly different from this street in Supermarket Sim. Even the fonts look the same. For me, the quality of life improvements and the card aspect are enough to set this one apart, but just like other games in this category, I suspect the shallowness of gameplay could really bounce off some people. Moving on to my actual complaints. First, we have to talk about bugs and stability. I ran into a few small bugs early on. These guys playing cards with themselves and refusing to get up at the end of the day, and the cursor getting locked to the middle of the screen. Saving and relaunching the game fixed these. I understand this is early access, so I'm not expecting a perfect game. But more concerning are the crashes to desktop I started getting around day 35 and onwards. Prior to that, I didn't have any crashes at all. I went from having to save rarely to saving all the time so I wouldn't lose progress. The developer is releasing frequent updates, so hopefully these issues get sorted. Let's move on to some issues with the game's progression systems. In general, I think the progression is a bit too slow and expensive. Store expansion, new licenses, and employees are all gated by store level and an upfront cost. These aren't too bad at first, but get progressively more and more difficult. I played 50 days, each day takes around 15 minutes, and I was able to get to store level 21. I was able to unlock all 4 rarity tiers for the first game set, Tetramon Basic, but the second set requires store level 25 to 50 to unlock all 4 tiers. Unlocks in general get really expensive. Why should I have to pay $10,000 just for the privilege of selling this plushie? It feels like the dev might be trying to draw gameplay time out a bit too far. The store expansion increments are also really small. I get that the overall store size is never going to be the same as a supermarket, but buying expansion should feel more impactful than this. Next, we have to talk about the employees. This game is different from Supermarket Sim in that each employee has different costs and stats. Some are better at restocking, some are better at checking out customers, and so on. This is fine in theory, but in reality, the low-level employees aren't worth hiring. These employees are like a Walmart manager's worst nightmare. Watch this guy counting out bills and change one at a time, and watch this guy's stocking speed. The game calls these employee skills normal. They're also really expensive to hire, even the starting ones. I ended up firing them both and just doing everything myself. I can check out 10 customers in the time it takes this guy to do one. Maybe this is all fixed with the more expensive employees, but like everything else, these are gated behind high store level. There are also some weird quality of life decisions and areas in which Supermarket Sim is better. The game also tells you how many dissatisfied customers you have at the end of the day, but not why. Was it missing inventory? Smelly customers? It's hard to fix things when you don't know what's wrong. While we're on the topic, I wish there was an option to disable the smelly customers. The first couple times it's funny, but eventually it turns into a bit of a chore and another in a long list of things that you have to handle. Ordering items is also harder than it has to be. Goods show up in a weird order, things you've unlocked don't always go to the top, and the game desperately needs a search bar. There are more strange things when ordering. Each card rarity level has 2 sets of larger bulk versions, but these have the same per unit pricing. As far as I can tell, there's never any reason to waste money unlocking or buying these. The game could also use an FOV slider. The default FOV feels too narrow and can feel disorienting, especially while checking customers out and playing quickly. Let's move on to value and my overall conclusion. Card Shop Sim is retailing for $13 US. If you like this kind of game and are intrigued by the card aspect, I think you can definitely get your money's worth at this price. I've played for about 12 hours and I can see myself coming back to it as it develops. These store sim type games are definitely not for everybody. I think to an extent it's sort of a you either love it or hate it mini genre. It doesn't help that the low barrier to entry for developers has led to a large number of low quality games which can lead to bad first experiences. Personally, I do like these games every once in a while. Even with some rough edges, Card Shop Sim does enough good things and enough different things to stand out. I'm not even a TCG nut. I had a handful of Pokemon cards back in the day, but that was it, and I still had a lot of fun with this one. On the other hand, if you've tried it and this type of game isn't for you, Card Shop Sim is probably not going to change your mind. Anyways, that about wraps this one up. Let me know in the comments if you've played any of these type games and how you think they compare. As always, if you enjoy this sort of content, feel free to like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.